Day after day, you fight battles that remain invisible to everyone around you. You create plans for yourself, then you put them off. Chances come your way, but you hold back. You trip up one time, and you act like the road forward has disappeared completely. The thing that knocks you down, ISN, to the outside world. It's the defeated mindset that's running the show from inside your head. This mindset fills you with self-doubt and makes you a prisoner of your own fears. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, put it this way: you control your thoughts, not what happens around you. Understand this truth, and you will discover your real power. Unless you take charge of your thoughts, they will take charge of you. Right now, we're going to walk through 5 principles from Stoic philosophy that will help you break apart a defeated mindset and wake up the genuinely powerful version of yourself that has been dormant inside. First principle: recognize your inner saboteur. No fighter can win a battle against an enemy they can TC. In this fight happening inside you, the enemy is your defeated mindset. Before you can defeat it, you need to learn how to spot it. Here is the tricky part: a defeated mindset never announces itself loudly. It doesn't make a big fuss or draw attention to itself. Instead, it lurks inside your everyday routines and in decisions that seem innocent enough. Stop for a second and examine yourself honestly. When your alarm clock goes off at 6 in the morning, you already know you should get up to exercise, to accomplish things, to take control of your day. But what do you do instead? You yank the covers over your face and tell yourself, just 5 minutes more. That's your defeated mindset talking. When a chance appears in front of you, you pause and think to yourself, I don't have what it takes. I am bound to mess this up. That is also your defeated mindset talking. When one little piece of criticism sends you into a spiral for the rest of the day, making you question your entire value as a person, that is still your defeated mindset running the show. Marcus Aurelius taught that your strength comes from controlling your thoughts, not from controlling what happens outside yourself. But most of us give away that strength to the negative voice inside our heads. That voice gets to decide if you take action or surrender, if you keep pushing forward or walk away. The first step in defeating your weak mindset, ISN, to launching an attack, it is learning to recognize it. The next time you catch yourself about to delay something or quit on yourself, pause and ask, is my logical mind making this choice, or is that defeated voice drowning everything else out? Will this decision build me up or tear me down? Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, reminded his students that people aren't upset by actual events, but by how they interpret those events. A defeated mindset always twists what is real. It transforms a challenge into a catastrophe and a setback into the end of everything. But when you stare it down directly, you realize it is nothing more than smoke and mirrors designed to keep you stuck. Here is what you need to remember. Every single person has this defeated mindset as part of them, but it is not your true identity. The moment you give it a name, you create distance between yourself and its grip. Right then and there, you begin reclaiming control over your own life. Second principle: dig up and discard the source of defeating thoughts. You can fix a wound by just covering it up on the outside. If poison stays in your bloodstream, it is going to keep spreading. Your mind works the same way. If you only deal with what is on the surface and never dig down to where defeating thoughts originate, you will stay trapped in an endless loop of weakness. So where do these roots actually come from? To start with, they grow from limiting beliefs you've carried around without realizing it for years. Maybe when you were young, somebody told you were never going to be successful at anything. That statement might feel like ancient history, but it actually planted itself deep in your mind. And every single time you were about to attempt something new, it pops back up. Done. To even try, you're just going to fail. Second, these roots come from constantly comparing yourself to others. You look around and notice people who achieve more, who have more talent, or who seem happier than you. Instead of learning something valuable from them, you let your defeated mindset whisper, you will never measure up to them. This constant comparison is what feeds your defeating thoughts and helps them grow. Third, these roots come from being terrified of failure. You haven't even taken the first step, but inside your head, you've already constructed dozens of nightmare scenarios about what could go wrong. You allow your negative imagination to chain you down rather than taking real action to change your situation. Seneca, yet another Stoic thinker, reminded people that we usually suffer far more in our imagination than we ever do in actual reality. So how do you pull out these roots? Begin by writing down every defeating belief that is controlling your choices. When they sitting there on paper in front of you, you can actually see them for what they are. After that, question them directly. Is this belief actually true? Can I find any proof that contradicts it? Has anyone ever faced a tougher situation than mine and still found a way through? By asking yourself these questions, you gradually pulling up the old, poisonous roots and putting down new, healthy seeds in their place. I have the ability to grow, and I have the ability to begin again. Keep this in mind. Defeating thoughts don't just materialize from thin air. They get planted and fed over many years. But your mind is like a garden. You hold the power to pull out what is harmful and cultivate what is genuinely valuable. Only after you locate and tear out the roots of defeating thoughts can you actually break free from the control of your defeated mindset. Third principle, refresh your mental landscape. You can pull out the weeds, but if you abandon the ground empty, those weeds are just going to come right back. In the same way, after you've spotted and torn out defeating thoughts, you need to plant fresh seeds. This is what refreshing your mental landscape means. Your defeated mindset constantly tries to pull you backward into the past, a place filled with failures, harsh words, and wounds that never healed properly. It also enjoys shoving you forward into the future, a place crowded with worries, disaster scenarios, and gloomy predictions. What is the outcome? You're never actually living in the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, "Limit yourself to the present." That's the heart of refreshing your mental landscape, breaking away from old patterns and pulling your focus back to this exact moment, which is the only place where you actually have power. So how do you refresh your mental landscape? To begin with, change the story you retelling yourself. Replace "I always mess things up" with "I'm figuring out how to succeed." Replace "I don't have what it takes" with "I'm improving a little bit every single day." Done. To think of this as being dishonest with yourself. This is how you retrain your mind so it works for you rather than against you. After that, make a habit of journaling about your thoughts. Each evening, write down the thoughts that went through your head during the day. Done. To criticize them, just get them down on paper. When you see them written out, you'll notice that many of them are just blown out of proportion fears, not actual reality. Writing works like a detox process, giving your mind a cleaner space to work with tomorrow. Lastly, direct your attention toward what you actually have control over. Epictetus taught his students that some things fall within our power, while other things don't. Whenever you start feeling anxious, stop and ask yourself, does this fall within my control? If the answer is no, release it. If the answer is yes, do something about it. Refreshing your mental landscape isn't about attempting to wipe out your memories. It is about transforming how you deal with them. The past stops having power over you once you've extracted lessons from it. The future stops being frightening when you understand you can take action right now in the present. Think of it this way. The mind resembles a river. If you allow it to sit still, it turns murky and polluted. But if you keep it moving and washing itself clean, it stays clear. Every single day, you pick a fresh thought, a fresh way of seeing things, a fresh action. That's the moment when you refreshing your mental landscape. Fourth principle, your surroundings and who you spend time with, you can build up a strong mind. But if you living in a poisonous environment day after day, that strength will slowly get eaten away. This happens because a person they just get shaped from the inside. They also molded by their surroundings and the people they hang around with. Look at your typical day. How much time do you waste scrolling through social media? How many hours do you spend hearing other people complain, point fingers, and spread negative attitudes? Bit by bit, these things leak into your mind, and even when you dawn to notice it happening, they quietly feeding the defeated version of yourself. Epictetus once warned his students to stay away from pointless conversations because they plant useless things in your mind. The ancient philosophers knew that your environment is the soil that feeds the seeds in your mind. In poor soil, a plant struggles to grow. So how can you redesign your surroundings? First, Clean up your living space. A messy, cluttered room drags your mind down with it. Organize it. Keep things simple, and make your living space mirror a clear and organized mind. Second, cut down on poisonous information sources. To kick off every morning by drowning yourself in negative news. Be picky about what you consume. Pick up books. Tune into motivating podcasts rather than endlessly scrolling through social media feeds. Third, be careful about who you spend your time with. Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker, put it this way: you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with most. If you surround yourself with people who complain and give up easily, it is tough to stay strong yourself. But if you around disciplined, upbeat people who have the guts to push forward, they'll lift you up with them. Fourth, set up a training environment for yourself. Keep a journal sitting on your desk so it's easy to write in. Leave your running shoes right by the door so you can make excuses to put things off. Every tiny detail can serve as a reminder that guides you back onto the path of strength. Remember this: a healthy seed requires good soil, clean water, and bright sunlight. Your mind needs the same things. If you want to destroy your defeated self, to just work on training yourself from the inside. You also have to protect your outside environment. Because when it comes down to it, nobody can remain strong in surroundings that are constantly dragging them down. Fifth principle: discipline beats emotion. Emotions work like ocean waves. They show up without warning, swell up high, and wash away your determination. Discipline acts as your anchor. It holds you steady, regardless of how wild the waves get around you. A defeated mindset always chases after temporary emotions. If you feel like resting, you rest. If you feel like quitting, you quit. If you feel like getting angry, you blow up immediately. And then, once the emotion fades away, all you left with is regret. Epictetus reminded people that no person is free who doesn't have control over themselves. Freedom doesn't mean doing whatever you feel like doing in the moment. Freedom means understanding what needs to get done and having enough discipline to do it, even when your emotions are fighting you every step of the way. Take a look at yourself. You decide we're going to exercise regularly. But after just one lazy day, you ditch your workout. You make plans to write a book, but when the creative spark disappears, you abandon it for months at a time. You promise yourself you'll pick up a new skill. But after several weeks go by, the early excitement wears off and you walk away from it. In every single one of those situations, you let emotion win over discipline. And every time that happens, the defeated version of yourself gets a bit more powerful. So what is the solution? First, place your principles above your emotions. Rather than asking yourself, do I feel like doing this right now? Ask instead, is this something I need to do to build myself up? If the answer is yes, then take action, regardless of what mood you're in. Second, begin with small acts of discipline. Get up when you're supposed to. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Jot down a few thoughts in a journal every evening. To brush off these small actions is unimportant because they stack up and turn into real strength. Third, practice being uncomfortable on purpose. The ancient Romans intentionally practiced voluntary discomfort. They deliberately faced hardships to make themselves tougher. You can do the same thing. Try taking a cold shower, walking an extra distance, or exercising when you're already exhausted. Every time you push through, delivering a message to yourself: my emotions to control me. The one in control. Discipline isn't the chain holding you down. It's the blade you use to slash through the chains of weakness. Emotions might shake you up, but discipline will keep you moving on the right path. Keep this in mind. A person who lets emotions run their life becomes a prisoner to whatever is happening around them. A person who lets discipline run their life becomes the boss of their own fate. And once discipline becomes strong, the final ingredient you need to make your mind unbreakable is gratitude. The secret to discovering peace no matter what is changing around you. Throughout our battle against the defeated version of ourselves, they armed ourselves with plenty of weapons. They learned to identify our weaknesses, tear out the roots of negative thinking, refresh our mental landscape, protect our environment, and build discipline. However, one of the most powerful yet simple tools gets overlooked constantly: gratitude. A defeated mindset stays fixated on what is missing, what hasn't been accomplished, and what could be lost. It obsesses over the empty spaces in life rather than the full ones. It counts everything that went wrong instead of celebrating what went right. This mindset turns you into someone who is never satisfied, never content, and never at peace, no matter how much you actually have. By contrast, a Stoic mindset zeroes in on what is already there. It recognizes the value in what exists right now, in this present moment. It sees the wealth in simple things that most people take for granted. And there is no better way to make this shift in focus than by practicing gratitude daily and intentionally. Gratitude isn't some fluffy emotion or feel-good trick that doesn't mean anything real. It is a powerful workout for your mind, just as demanding and transformative as any physical exercise. When you practice it consistently, you reteaching your mind to switch its attention from shortage to plenty, from lack to abundance, from what is broken to what is working. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a searchlight. Whatever you point that light toward becomes your reality. If you keep pointing it at problems, failures, and what you don't have, that becomes your entire world. But when you deliberately aim that searchlight at the good things in your life, your whole experience transforms. Give this simple exercise a shot. It is one the Stoics used all the time, and it costs you nothing but a few minutes of attention. Every morning before your day gets rolling, before you check your phone or jump into the chaos, spend just 1 minute listing 3 things you feel grateful for. Write them down if you can. Say them out loud if that feels right. Just get them out of your head and into the world. It might be a solid night of sleep that left you feeling rested and ready. It might be a friend who has got your back no matter what happens. It might be a roof over your head when others are struggling to find shelter. Or it might just be the simple fact that you woke up and can breathe, that your heart is beating, that you have another day to try again and do better. You might think this is a tiny thing, something too small to matter in the big picture. But these tiny things create the solid foundation for a strong mind. Just like a building needs a strong foundation to stand tall through storms and earthquakes, your mental strength needs this daily practice of gratitude to withstand the difficulties life throws at you. When you zero in on what you have, something remarkable starts happening. You'll discover that a lot of the fears and insecurities your weak mind clings to aren't even real. They reshadows illusions, stories you've been telling yourself for so long that you started believing they were facts. You'll understand that you already have plenty, even when it feels like everything is working against you. You'll see opportunities where you used to see only obstacles. As Seneca put it with brilliant clarity, it is not the person who has too little who is poor, but the person who wants more and more. Real poverty isn't about what is in your bank account or your closet. It's about the endless craving, the constant feeling that you need just one more thing to finally be happy, to finally be enough. When you develop gratitude, you remaking your own mind richer in the truest sense. You reconstructing a solid mental fortress that stands strong against life, its ups and downs, against the constant changes and challenges that come your way. Gratitude, 1, to make difficulties vanish into thin air. It won't solve all your problems or remove every obstacle from your path, but it'll help you stay standing in the middle of them, like a tough oak tree in a storm, unshakable and full of life. While everything around you might be chaos, you remain rooted, strong, and capable of weathering whatever comes next. We traveled through an important journey together over these lessons. This hasn't been just information. It has been a roadmap for real transformation. We discovered how to spot the defeated version of ourselves, that weak voice that tries to hold us back, and strip away its power by naming it and recognizing it for what it really is. They exposed the roots of defeating thoughts, those limiting beliefs planted years ago, the constant comparisons to others, and the crippling fear of failure, so we can rip them out from deep inside where they've been hiding and growing stronger. They learned to refresh our minds through reflection and journaling, changing the stories we tell ourselves and focusing only on what we can actually control. They figured out how to pick the right surroundings and people to help us grow. They learned that a cluttered space clutters the mind, that toxic information sources poison our thinking, and that the 5 people we spend the most time with shape who we become. They trained ourselves in discipline to kill off procrastination and forge a strong character understanding that principles matter more than emotions, that small disciplines add up to massive strength, and that voluntary discomfort makes us tougher. And finally, they practice gratitude to discover abundance and peace, to shift our focus from what is missing to what is already here, from scarcity to plenty. By putting these lessons into action, not just reading them or thinking about them, but actually doing them, we're not just studying a philosophy from ancient Rome. We're truly taking part in the biggest battle of your life. We're fighting to take back control of your mind from the defeated thoughts that have been running the show. We're working to transform into a stronger, more capable, more resilient version of yourself. Done to wait around for the perfect moment. Done to hold back until conditions are ideal. Start today, right now, even if it's just with one tiny action. Pick the easiest thing from everything we've discussed and do it. Maybe it's writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's cleaning one corner of your room. Maybe it's just getting up on time tomorrow morning. It doesn't matter how small the action is. What matters is that you take it. Because before you can change the world around you, before you can accomplish big goals or help other people or make a real difference, you've got to change your inner world first. Everything starts with the mind. Master that, and everything else becomes possible. Today, we walk through 5 principles from Stoic philosophy that will help you break apart a defeated mindset and wake up the genuinely powerful version of yourself that has been dormant inside, waiting for you to finally claim it. If this video gave you something valuable, if even one idea here sparked something in you or made you see things differently, please hit the like button and subscribe to support the channel and give us more fuel to create content that matters. Your support tells us that this message is reaching people who need it, and it motivates us to keep going, to keep sharing these ancient principles that are just as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. And drop a comment down below sharing which lesson hit you the hardest. Was it learning to identify your weak mind? Was it the idea of removing the roots of negative thoughts? Was it the power of gratitude? Let us know. Your insights might help someone else who is struggling with the same battles. See you in the next video as you continue on your journey to mastering your life. Remember, this isn't the end. It's just the beginning. Every day is a new chance to practice these principles, to get stronger, to become more disciplined, and to live with greater purpose and peace.